We are now only a few weeks away from this next championship season getting back underway. Clubs are now returning to their pre-season schedules, which can only mean the transfer business is only going to ramp up from this point onwards. We've got plenty more done deals to go through in today's video, as well as some big transfer rumours going around the championship at the moment as well. As always, if you do go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and do get all your thoughts in the comments down below. Without any further ado though, let's hop into some done deals. Now, I missed this one on the last transfer rumour roundup video, but Andy Rumours completing a deal over to Cardiff. I think this one's another really savvy deal that Cardiff have got done, obviously. Cardiff have done quite well, actually, to get what seems to be the vast majority of their business done quite early on in the window, but Rumours may just turn out to be the best addition of them all, actually. Really big fan of him throughout his time at Reading. Him and Josh Laurent formed a really solid partnership for Reading over the past few years, and it's a massive miss for Reading, but a massive gain to that Cardiff midfield. Suddenly for Millwall, all the pieces seem to be falling together because they have completed the permanent deal for Benik Afobe. He obviously spent last season out on loan at the Den and had a pretty decent goal return, actually. 12 goals, 3 assists in that time, did quite well leading the line for Millwall. I'm sure that they'll be thankful to have him back for the season. And they also managed to land a deal for Hull City's George Honeyman. At Hull at the moment, there's so many moving parts in terms of players leaving, players coming in, but this Honeyman deal did surprise me. In the end, he couldn't agree terms with Hull over a new deal, and so in the end he was snatched up by Millwall. I think this one's a really good deal, actually, for Millwall. I think he'll be a good fit into that system, can be quite a tenacious midfielder. Honeyman, really hard worker off the ball, so I'm sure that he'll settle in fine at Millwall, and also adds a little bit of a spark and creative angle into that midfield as well, with 5 goals and 4 assists last season for Hull. In terms of an incoming for Hull, they have completed the deal for Tobias Figueiredo, coming in on a free transfer with his contract at Nottingham Forest coming towards an end. This one, a solid pickup, I'd say, from Hull. Always thought he was a decent defender from his time at Nottingham Forest, and certainly a step back in the right direction for them rebuilding their squad this summer. And we've seen Hull City announce the signing of Ozan Tufan on a 3-year deal. Now, we've spoken quite a bit about Tufan as he's been long linked with the move to Hull City. I am a little bit mixed on this one. I'm both eagerly excited to see what he can do and also a little bit cautious in thinking how this one could potentially go wrong. We don't know what sort of a player we're getting in Ozan Tufan in terms of will he be fit, will he be motivated. You know, that didn't seem to be the case at Watford, but in years gone by previously he has looked like a cracking player, so it will be up to Hull to go ahead and get the best out of him, but a 3-year deal with an option of a 4th. Stoke have completed the deal for Leeds United's Liam McCarron. He's coming over on a permanent deal, and the 21-year-old happy to play anywhere along that sort of left-hand side, so could be seen as a backup or an alternative to Timon on that side. Burnley have completed the deal for Oxford United's Luke McNally, who signed on a 4-year deal with a transfer fee of around about £2 million for this one. Burnley's squad slowly starting to come together for next season, I must say. The pieces are falling into place. Oxford have had a little bit of a reputation over the last few years, really, in terms of the centre-halves that they have brought through and sold up to the Championship, and McNally seems to be the latest player off that conveyor belt. Preston North End's Josh Earl has joined Fleetwood Town. Preston being quite cutthroat, actually, with how we've gone ahead and trimmed the squad over the last few weeks. With us releasing Josh Earl, we went ahead and did the same with Tom Bayliss as well. He's since gone on to join Shrewsbury. And we've seen Luton complete a deal for Derby County's Louis Watson. We've not really seen all too much of Watson, only played a handful of minutes during Derby's most recent Championship campaign, but certainly a player who's got talent and Luton will be looking to bring up through the ranks. Burnley managed to complete a deal for Manchester City defender CJ Egan-Riley as they continue their rebuild ahead of next season. Looks to be a really promising player, this one, and Burnley have done quite well to land him, obviously. Vincent Kompany using his connections with this one, get him to sign on a 3-year deal, which is quite promising, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of other Manchester City links, one of which we'll talk about later in today's video to Burnley. I have to admit, this one is a real statement signing from Sunderland, who have managed to secure the signature signature of Daniel Ballard on a permanent basis on an undisclosed fee from Arsenal. I've been watching the career of Ballard over the last few years. He had that brilliant loan spell out at Blackpool then last season. Really solid year for Millwall in the Championship as well. And the fact that Sunderland have managed to land him on a permanent basis, I think speaks to what their ambitions are heading into next season and long term for properly re-establishing themselves back in the Championship with Alex Neil. Honestly, I think this is a cracking bit of business, and I'm eager to see what else Sunderland have up their sleeves if this is the sort of bar of players that they're going for. Rotherham have completed a deal for Cohen Brown. We'll be interested to see how he gets on in the Championship. Rotherham could have picked up a little bit of a gem in this one actually. Signed on a permanent basis, looks to be absolutely rapid as well and gives them another option down that left hand side. But those are some of the done deals we've seen go through in the Championship over the past few days. Now without any further ado, let's hop into some transfer rumours. And we'll start out with the big transfer story going around the Championship at the moment, and that's that Brentford are going all in for Hull City's Keane Lewis Potter with a deal that could be worth upwards of £20 million. Reportedly so, the initial bid of £16 million is to then be joined by £4 million in add-ons as well. Now, Hull, I was under the impression that they would keep hold of Lewis Potter in this transfer window, and to be honest, I think that they would have done everything in their powers to go ahead and do that. But once these sort of bids start coming in from Premier League clubs, you know, 20 million upwards, I think you'd be quite foolish really to go ahead and turn down that sort of money. Now, Lewis Potter was absolutely brilliant for Hull last season, and I still hold the opinion that maybe another full season in the Championship may be the best thing for his development. But to a side like Brentford, who've obviously been coached fantastically, I could see him being a real fit there. And from Hull's perspective, they're getting a hell of a lot of money here, and as they've already shown throughout this transfer window, there's already money to go ahead and spend on that squad, and this would only go on and add on top of that. Local journos are also reporting that of the money they would be getting for Lewis Potter, a lot of that would then be reinvested into the rest of the squad, which will make for an incredibly interesting transfer window for Hull. But there's no denying that for me here, they are losing their best player. And regardless of how much money you go and spend, that sort of talent is tough to replace, because we've seen Championship clubs, you know, spend big previously. If you watch yesterday's video over, you know, club record signings and how much money has been wasted previously, it would be easy for Hull to go ahead and mismanage those funds, which could be coming in if this sale does go through. But yeah, he's a cracking player, but that's tough money to turn down, isn't it? And in another blow for Hull, it appears as if Jean-Michel Seri won't be going to Hull this window. He had been heavily linked with the move to Hull and was said to be weighing up a move there, but as a recent report has come out, it seems as if he will be off elsewhere. Former Hull City player Robbie Brady is currently training with my team, Preston North End. This one will be quite the interesting deal. Ryan Lowe's been quite vocal over the positions that North End are still looking to strengthen, and obviously left wing back is one of those. We're looking for two players in this position as things stand, and Robbie Brady would be a massive upgrade on what we already have in that position. The problem comes from the fact of probably just how injury prone he's actually been over the last few years of his career. He didn't play all too much football last season for Bournemouth. He managed just 191 minutes in the Championship, although there was obviously a lot of competition within that squad. But throughout his entire career at Burnley, the most amount of league starts he ever managed was just 15, and obviously Randler has been quite vocal about not wanting injury-prone players. You know, we were burned by that really from last summer's recruitment with the additions of the likes of, you know, Izzy Brown and Josh Murphy coming in, who spent the season injured pretty much. So this one's a little bit of a risk versus reward one really. I certainly wouldn't mind Brady if he came on the, you know, if he came on a contract where it was a sort of appearance-based thing, but the club will weigh him up over pre-season, I'm sure. And as a right wing back, North End have also been linked with a move for Cyrus Christie. This one has been long rumoured. He's recently been released by Fulham and is now a free agent. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of other Championship clubs who are also interested in Christie. And it seems like we could have quite the domino effect set off by the Richarlison transfer in in the Premier League, as Everton seem to be going after Emmanuel Dennis as his replacement. This will have then knock-on effect for Watford and their transfer business. Dennis was always a player who we expected to go ahead and move on, and it does seem to be the case. 10 goals, 6 assists in the Premier League, one of Watford's best performing players, one of the best dribblers in the Premier League last season by his numbers, and also he completed more nutmegs than any other Premier League player, which I thought was an interesting stat. But you'd imagine this one would be around about that 15 to 20 million mark. Teemu Pukki's agent has admitted that his player could be looking for a bigger challenge ahead of this next upcoming season, and that could set off a chain of events which sees Pukki leaving Carrow Road this summer, which would be an absolutely massive blow to Norwich's promotion hopes. Pukki, one of the best strikers we've ever seen in the Championship for me, 29 goals and 26 goals in his 2 outings in the Championship, and hit double figures in both the seasons he's had in the Premier League with Norwich as well, scoring 11 goals each time. So he's shown that he can cut it in the Premier League, and so I think it's fair enough from his perspective that he may be looking for that new challenge. You know, he signed on a free transfer. He's only got 1 year left on his deal at Norwich as things stand, and his agent could be leaking something out there for this one, which could set off a chain of events which sees Pukki moving on, which would be a massive blow for Norwich, because how do you go about replacing all those goals? So we've already seen one Manchester City defender coming in at Burnley, and they are also expected to complete a deal for Harwood Bellis. I believe this one will be on a season-long loan deal. Obviously, we have seen Harwood Bellis previously in the Championship, and as Burnley are continuing to look to add depth into this position, I think he'd be a nice addition for the season. And it seems as if Nottingham Forest have set their eyes on Huddersfield fullback Harry Toffolo. We know how important wing-backs are to Steve Cooper's system, and as they're looking to add a little bit more on that left-hand side, Harry Toffolo has come up on the agenda. Now, he was one of the best left wing-backs in the Championship last season, particularly in the second half of the season. I thought he took his game to another level, really. 6 goals, 8 assists, really solid both defensively and going forward. And he's one of those players who I could realistically see maybe making that step up to the next level. Obviously, with Huddersfield, the major departure we expected from that side was, you know, potentially Lewis O'Brien, but with Toffolo now being linked with that move away as well, I'm sure that Huddersfield will be desperate to keep hold of him. Huddersfield Town have been linked with a move for Josh Murphy. He is currently a free agent, with his contract at Cardiff having come to an end. Obviously, he spent last season out on loan at Preston North End, and we as Preston fans didn't really get to see all too much of him, to be honest. Struggled for fitness. There were a few rumblings about some potential attitude problems going on behind the scenes as well, and ultimately it just didn't work out as a loan move. Murphy is a player who does have a bundle of talent, and that does, you know, come through even during his brief loan spell at Preston. We did see a few flashes of those quality, but as was the case throughout his Cardiff career, those moments were just too few and far between, really. So this one will be, I suppose, up to the discretion of Huddersfield whether or not they want to take the gamble on him. And we'll end off today with a bit of a wacky transfer story, actually, because Wigan Athletic have been linked with a move for Egyptian goalkeeper Mohamed Gad. He's spent his entire career so far playing in the Egyptian Premier League. He's 23 years old, and this transfer rumour popped up the other day. If it does have some validity in it, then it does show that Wigan's scouting network will be far and wide this summer. Obviously, the sticking point that Championship clubs have with signing players from abroad now is the fact that they do need to have work permits and things like that, so he'll need to go ahead and get enough points and go through that system. Preston North End have already figured out how tough that can actually be, as we were knocked back on one of our foreign signings this window. But I've watched a bit of a compilation of him, and he looks eccentric, to say the least. He'd be a bundle of fun in the Championship. Whether or not this one has any validity in, I'm not so sure. But guys, there we have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. That will wrap it up for today's transfer rumour roundup. As always, do get all your thoughts in the comments down below in terms of all of the recent done deals and rumours which are circulating around your club. Do leave a like if you want to enjoy, and do stick around and subscribe for some regular Championship content. Thanks for watching though, and I'll see you all in the next one.